What's up, guys? I'm here to do this build guide today for hunters. We're gonna go start and work our way up. Starting out, actually, we're gonna look at our stats here for the melee build with your auto reload and everything. Let's go ahead and just start with 100 strength and then do whatever you would like. My suggestion is try to get all of these numbers up to 50. You know, your mobility, resilience, recovery, discipline, and intellect. Get those all above 50, and then choose one to try to grind your way up to getting it up above 70, and then continue from there.
Time for a break.
Guardian, what puzzles do you bear?
Starting with your cape, you're gonna get a little specific. Based on what you run for your mods, you might be able to put something here. But elemental ordnance first. The reason for this being you get grenade.
We have everything we need.
When you get a kill with a grenade, you're spawning an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type, and we'll touch on that in a moment and why you want that matching subclass energy
The best
type
crypt
well.
sharks dig and dig, and one day the garden blooms.
Over here we got perpetuation, which is only worth 2. It's really nice. It reduces class ability cooldown when using your class ability. Kind of funky way of saying it, but everybody knows what your class ability is, and it's in reducing your cooldown.
The world's changing, Guardian.
Awesome.
You must
The fact that
prepare
you're
and adapt.
reducing its cooldown while using your class ability is awesome. Moving on to the legs. Don't worry about that Nightmare Banisher. It's just my dream main mod.
This is all a plan. To make us lower our guard.
Starting with reactive pulse. While you're charged with light, you take damage while surrounded by combatants. You emit a burst of damaging arc energy.
Decryption can
Pretty much
break
you just
your
become
heart
like a little,
sometimes.
like a miniature arc grenade on yourself. The reason you want that second perk down there in blue, you have to have another arc mod for it to work. But the reason you want that version of Bulwark Finisher,
This war is a complicated algorithm, to be certain.
is because it doesn't take your super to use, unlike the other Bulwark Finisher mod. To activate it, all you need is another arc mod. Invigoration is only worth 1, which is great. I mean, I have 2 because of the Nightmare, but all you would need is this one Invigoration mod. So just make sure that your legs or whatever you're using is an arc piece, so you could put on that second arc mod that you need.
We
to
live
get
in
that
dangerous
free
times, Guardian.
little
I hope you have something for me
overshield
that
just for
might
doing
help you
finishers,
make it
which is
safer.
awesome. But Invigoration is great on its own, even if you're not using Reactive Pulse, because you're reducing your melee cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power. And that's great for this
Yes,
melee
yes,
build,
Guardian, by all
in
means.
general.
Let's get started.
Your Fusion Rifle Scavenger, that's just for my Fusion Rifles. But go ahead and remember, look, I only needed 5. The reason for that being, everybody was always putting on a 10, but it was unneeded. The reason for that being is even if I put on that plus 10 on my armor, it all it does is push my strength like above more than 103 or more than
Circumstances
100.
change, but the
which you don't
data
need.
remains. Always.
You only get the perk up to 100. Nothing more than that counts. Thicken Barrier, that's just for Last Wish, but next mod you're going to pay attention to is your Elemental Well mod called Elemental Charge. You become charged with light by picking up an Elemental Well. If the Elemental Well's
Speak to me
element type
not of the
matches your
darkness.
subclass
I want
element,
no
you get
part.
2 stacks charged with light. So what that means is, even if it doesn't match your energy type, you still get charged with light. But if you pick up one that matches, you get 2 stacks of charge with light. The submachine gun, even though I don't have a submachine gun equipped right now, I'll show you where that's useful with this auto reload melee build and stuff. Auto rifles are important to have equipped, especially this mod. The reason being for that, hey, Famous hopped into the stream. It was from Fire Team. So the reason you want this auto rifle unflinching is because while you're getting sprayed trying to take down that anti-barrier with that mod, you're flinching the whole time. Nice to have that little perk. You've got your high energy fire, so while you're charged with light, you gain a bonus to your weapon damage, and you can stack that across other pieces of armor, but it does not increase the damage of the high energy fire. What it does is it
remain vigilant, Guardian. We may never quite be as safe as we think.
So it increases the amount of time that you can use it, because it's only consuming 1 stack of charge with light. So if you have more high energy fires, you can stack high energy fire and stack charge with light with that. You know, elemental charge and shield break charge. You can get all sorts of. Sometimes I'm even charged with light times 5 that sometimes, which is craziness. It's great to use that high energy fire if you're stacking a bunch. Would be really useful in a raid.
Dig and dig.
That stuff
and
right
one
there.
Day, the garden blooms.
Focusing strike grants class ability energy when you cause damage with the melee strike, not just get a kill, which is really useful. And then for this melee build, you will need Sealed Ahamkara Grasp. The reason for that being is because you get a auto reload just by doing melee, and us hunters have all sorts of.
We live in dangerous times, Guardian. I hope you have something for me that might help you make it
stasis
safer.
or solar all the time. In Arc, I use Arc all the time. It's even really useful in Arc. The reason for that is because in this top tree, that melee is great to have with that 100 stat. It's ridiculous.
Remain vigilant,
but what
Guardian.
I'm showing
we
you
may
today
never
is
quite
about
be as safe
Void.
as we think.
And so the reason is Snare Bomb. You can stick that on a wall or anything for that auto reload. And then also, you know, you would think that I would be telling you to use that marksman's dodge to auto reload. But today I'm also talking about grenades and rockets. So we're going to be talking about using this to recharge your melee ability with your snare bomb. You can pretty much just keep it going using that Sealed Ahamkara Grasp. And then not a lot of people are a big fan of that Osmosis. I would suggest it though, not just for this build, but for quite a few things. Especially if you know, like me, I have 2 weapons that match
Guardian,
energy
by
type.
all means. Let's
so
get
if I
started.
need to have a 3rd energy type, I can throw on a solar weapon or whatever, you know, and then have all 3 energy types, Arc, Solar, and Void, using a Void Grenade. And that Void Grenade that you want to use would be Vortex Grenade or a Void Wall, but I would suggest Vortex for this melee build because it's great with the Hootscow. Auto reloading holster with a Demolitionist is ridiculous.
Decryption can break
because whether
your
or
heart
not you
sometimes.
put it away or take it out and throw a grenade, you know, this grenade generates the weapon's auto reload, and then the weapon itself also generates grenade ability.
Yes,
is
Guardian,
awesome.
by all means. Let's get started.
The submachine gun I was going to show you today was the Huckleberry. The reason that you want to use a Huckleberry with this melee build, or an auto rifle for the season, but this build is geared around submachine guns, actually, so you would want to use the Huckleberry. With the catalyst, you get a kill and it auto reloads back up to 30. And then if you do happen to run out of ammo, all sorts of distance, melee, you can stab, all sorts of stuff if you want to use the other dodge, but it does take away from the regenerating your grenades ability that we're trying to build on top of the rocket and the dodge. Using
we live in dangerous times, Guardian.
But
I hope you have something
dodge
for me that might help you
also
make
makes
it
you
safer.
vanish from sight, and it you recharge melee ability from this, so it's quite a good little setup. Moving on to the helmet, you would want a shield break charge on top of everything else so that you can get that
Even with the most difficult
distance
ciphers, all that
charge
is
with light.
required
I was
is the
talking
right
about
key.
shield break charge earlier, and now we're here to it, so using it is great, but you do have to match the energy type. That's easy enough to do, especially if you use that osmosis rifle this season. This is a raid weapon here, as well as this. They're both from
The world's
Last Wish,
changing,
I
Guardian.
believe.
You must prepare and adapt.
But they're great to use for this build, whether or not using the submachine gun or the auto rifle for that perk. If you were going for a grenade build and not resilience, I would say
We live in dangerous times, Guardian.
instead of using,
I hope you have something for me that might help you make it safer.
when you're not using one or the other, I would say wrong.
They won't like this.
Yes, Guardian, by all means. Let's
I would
get
say
started.
use one of these. The reason for this being, you're granted class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. Not just get a kill, but cause damage. Kind of the same as this focusing strike that I use for the cause damage, the melee attack. Not only does it do the same thing, but it is only worth one. I'm kind of stickler about using all my energy, so I use the two. But I do melee a lot more than I throw
Sadly, the
grenades,
Red
I
Legion's
feel like.
defeat
So.
will not bring back our lost archives.
But that grenade
Some things
ability
are
is not a
finite.
downgrade, I would say, at any cost from the focusing strike. I feel like the bolstering detonation is just as good. If not even maybe a little better, because you can throw the grenade from a distance. But the flip side coin to
Remain
that, when
vigilant,
you
Guardian.
use
We may never
focusing
quite be
strike,
as safe as we
you
think.
can generate class ability energy if you just keep spamming your melee attack, especially if you're doing a raid or a master lost sector or something crazy like that. It's really nice to have to where you can keep punching and generating class ability on top of all these other perks. Fantastic. Ooh, sounds like somebody's upgrading over there. Well, that's it from Lord of Wolves today. I'm going to be hopping
Some
out
of these
of this
files are
stream
older than
and
the
doing some
city
other stuff.
itself.
If you're just now hopping in, I suggest to go to the beginning of this. I will be editing here in a little bit, just making a thumbnail and an outro. But until next time, we'll be doing the Titan build next with Alex Vader, and then the Warlock build a few days after that with one of our Warlocks. So make sure to keep
we
your eyes
end, the data
peeled
ends
for
with
those.
us.
But for now, all we got for you is the Hunter melee build. Super useful though. I use this build on the daily myself. Give it a try, see if you can tweak it yourself, make it a little better, and let me know.